one simple sentence from Ben Johnson on Monday answer any questions in your mind regarding the season finale versus Detroit on Sunday, the only NFC North team the Bears have yet to beat.
How do you view just like what's still ahead of you, the 2 or the 3 seed, and how decisions that you'll make, like how do you weigh the importance of seeding in this game?
Yeah, we're playing to win this week.
The Bears opened up as a 2.5-point favorite, according to our guy Brad Biggs, via our other guy, Joe Fortenbaugh. Your thoughts?
Well, first of all, we're loaded with guys.
We got guys everywhere.
We got guys all over.
We got loaded, aren't we?
Tell me this show isn't working.
We got Biggsy. We got Joe.
Our guy Biggsy.
We got David Braun coming on to talk about Chip Kelly.
I should say
Totally
he's your
our
guys'
guy.
guy. He's not my guy.
He's your guy, Tyler. You're our guy.
Okay, all right.
You're
Baby
one
T.
of our guys. What the hell?
Come on, Baby T. Don't sell yourself short.
Yeah, you're only Grote's guy because he named
Come
you
on.
Baby T.
We didn't give you a nickname, but we claim
We
you.
did go to the same high
embraced
school.
it.
We're proud of you, especially since a new haircut.
All right. Well,
move on.
Yeah, he's got a great new haircut. We should make sure people know. There's a lot here, and it's very obvious the Bears ought to win this game. It's very obvious they ought to try to win the game. It's very obvious they need to be at home for as long as they can. And if you're the number 2 seed, that offers you the possibility. All you got to do is win your home game. Guess what the gift is? Another home game. So you would take that and run like a thief in the night. You'd be delighted to have that happen, and then you'll go wherever you got to go to with a promise of a Super Bowl waiting for you at the end of that one. So I think that you have to do this. This is a moral certitude. I also believe that I think the problem I was having was I was uncertain as to how beat up they are, how bad they are, how bad that run defense is. They've given up whatever it is, 880 yards over the last 2 games to opponents. Now, obviously, the first time they did well in the red zone. The second time they did very poorly in the red zone, and that is how they ended up giving up the points they did and getting kicked around by San Francisco. So you want to address that, and whatever you feel you have to do that. But I love that simple sentence, the idea we're playing to win. And I'll tell you what, there's value in that. There's value in avenging your only loss within the division. You want to take the North, and you want to let everyone know that you took it, that there's nobody in the North better than you. We all remember what happened earlier in the year, and we all remember they put a 50 burger on you, and they chanted at your coach, and they did everything to humiliate the guy. Well, guess what? A year has passed. The 2 teams are completely different than they were in week 2. And this is an opportunity to show that and get yourself ready for an advantageous position in the playoffs. So I am all over getting this victory. And now that you've stated that you're playing to win, go get it. Go after them, tear them to shreds, and take the North and never give it back.
I love it when football coaches talk like football coaches, and when they reinforce the idea that you get better at playing football by playing football. I don't like coaches that play scared or run from challenges, and I think that Ben Johnson was in a position to do that and didn't. So he's leaning into the idea that the Bears will improve and have an opportunity to go into the playoffs with momentum. And they can do that by beating the team that embarrassed the Bears in the most convincing fashion of any team they played on the schedule, and frankly reinforce just how bad things had gotten at Hallis Hall, because that moment of him walking off the field at Ford Field, a loser, 52-21, mocked and embarrassed. I think for Ben Johnson, as proud as he is as a head coach, and probably had his ego bruised a little bit, but certainly he was reminded that day how far away the Bears were at that time. They got good in a hurry. They got better fast, and they took advantage of the bye week, and they showed evidence of coaching, and now they need more coaching, and they need to get back on the winning track. So when he said we're playing to win, it's not only good because they have things to clean up defensively, and you want to get on a roll offensively, but it also gives them a chance to, I think, get some payback. And that's important too, psychologically, for a football team that has checked a lot of boxes this year. But I think beating Dan Campbell and reminding that franchise just what they're missing would be very satisfying for Ben Johnson. And so Caleb Williams, he hasn't missed an NFL start. That also matters. He could finish his second season having started every game of his NFL career in the regular season. That, to me, is also important. So I'm not surprised they're favored. I'm not surprised Ben Johnson's approaching it this way. I'm relieved that we're looking at Week 18, a final game, and it still carries meaning to the Chicago Bears.
And they need the work. They need the bloody work.
Yes, they do.
I don't know the answer to that question.
That's the voice of Brad Biggs, who will join you guys
Our guy.
at yes, and he will join you at 7 o'clock. What does a Bears defense that gave up 6 touchdowns against the 49ers have to improve on most? Is this a playoff caliber defense?
Not in its current state. If this is the way the Bears are going to play in the postseason, they're going to be more vulnerable than they should be. And I don't think that there is going to be help on the way. There's not going to be any kind of personnel or talent that you're going to activate, that you're going to rotate, that you're going to change in terms of roster configuration. So you look at what can you do to get better defensively for a unit that just gave up, way too many yards and points against the 49ers. Yes, the 49ers are elite offensively. Yes, that scheme is probably one of the most consistent in the NFL. But you also have to factor in the Bears have made it too easy to run the football on them, and they haven't really earned the right to rush the passer, and they don't do it well. I believe a couple things have to happen. Number one, your rotation defensively up front has to be more effective in a way that keeps your defensive linemen fresh. You have to get some real strong play out of Grady Jarrett and Javon Dexter, but on the edges specifically, Montez Sweat has to be more dominating. Number two, Tremaine Edmonds has to show up, and not in a negative way. Watching the game at times through the second viewing, and it was as bad as the first, if you saw Tremaine Edmonds blocked effectively or beaten in coverage, you're watching the same game I did. And then in the secondary, challenge routes. I wonder, in the zone defenses, the Bears were way too soft, and in man-to-man coverage, they were beaten too easily. But I think if you're Dennis Allen, you almost have to be a little bit more aggressive, particularly if you are against the Packers and Jordan Love coming back from a concussion. Yes, he burned you the first time you played him by the blitz. But, Mully, I don't know if they get better by sitting back and waiting for things to happen. I think they have to force the issue, because that's how you create takeaways. And takeaways are the lifeblood of this defense, and this defense needs a jolt. So it's not a playoff caliber defense at the moment. Doesn't mean they can't get there by trying to create their own luck.
I would say that, just take a look at the depth chart, and you tell me the name of the player that doesn't need more work on defense. I thought Austin Booker showed up in that game. Andrew Billings actually technically started the game. Grady Jarrett, I don't know, mystery to me. I think the mystery has been solved. He's got this knee, and he hasn't been the entity that you thought he was, and he's got good leadership ability. You got to be able to play, man. I mean, you got to be able to play better than you're playing, period, end of story. Whether it's Chris Williams, Javon Dexter, we mentioned the linebacking core. I think TJ Edwards did well, and DeMarco Jackson can still help you there, so that makes up for Noah Sewell. Noah Sewell, we haven't talked about it all. He apparently blew out his Achilles. We'll find out more about that later in the week. That looked really awful.
Did you see that DeMarco Jackson played 0 snaps?
Yeah, that was really strange. Was that the penalty from the week before?
I don't know. Because of the body surfing penalty?
I don't know. I mean, and I don't know how he's handling what was clearly a demotion. But Tremaine Edmonds, as much as anyone, that was probably he might have been the worst player on the field. And he's a guy coming back from injury, so maybe he's still coming back. And like we talk about, needs work. I don't want to be overly cruel about it, but I think that I think it's interesting what's going on at the cornerback position, because as much as Jalen Johnson is back and healthy and he struggled, I heard that from Chris Collinsworth on the first play of the game, and then I didn't see Jalen really dominate, and I saw Tyreek Stevenson come in. So they're still trying to get everybody back up and running.
That was also peculiar. Jalen Johnson, your best cornerback, starting the second half in a rotation and really not on the field that much.
Nahshon Wright, maybe this is disappointment and not making the Pro Bowl, whatever.
Seemed affected by illness.
Yeah.
He was one of the guys with the flu, reportedly.
And you want to be fair about that as well. I don't know who was in or out based on the flu stuff, but the defense needs to get significantly better. And to answer the question, no, it is not playoff caliber at this point. It is not Super Bowl caliber by a mile. So they got to get a hell of a lot better, and that would start with getting something from the defensive line. And, you rattle off all the names and you answer me who's going to start making a bigger impact.
Did you see where the Packers signed Jonathan Ford, I believe?
I got to tell you, that we were talking about that on our little chain. Olin was the guy. Olin really liked him. And
he was
he's
a run
talked
stuffer
about him before. Yeah, and he didn't understand why they would get rid of him at this time of year. And he said something on our chat, and I don't want to reveal too much. He should talk for himself. But he basically said that if he were the Packers, he'd sign him. And that seemed like such an obvious move. I mentioned that to you yesterday, that the Packers are so bad at run defense. Did the Bears just throw them a lifeline that might help them if they play against each other in the playoffs? The answer you're giving me right now is yes. So you get all sorts of insights. You get to take a player into a room and you sit him down and you put the lights on him and you quiz him over everything. You get all the information.
How are they
he has.
handling this blocking scheme? What are you instructed to do on this situation? How are they rushing the passer? What is their formation? Yeah, you're getting as much information as you can, and you're paying him a modest fee for that.
And he may well be the run stuffer that they don't have.
They have injuries.
You may aid them because they are so beaten up. I wonder if the Bears had a long conversation about that before they decided to not create an injury or do something to open up a roster spot.
It's just not really sensible. It's one of those moves, as much as we have praised Ryan Poles for making the right moves.
Bad move.
You wonder what it was about him.
Bad move, David. And it's the kind of move you can't find defensive linemen. If we talked about this since the Bears had some injuries, those guys, you can't just go down and pluck them off a tree. And the Bears have thrown a gift to Green Bay if they end up hosting them in the playoffs.
It makes you want to pluck somebody off their practice squad.
It makes my blood boil, in case you're missing that.